What is going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 24 of the Roundup. Now, this is a huge episode. In this episode, the crazy news that came out just after I uploaded episode 23 that Huke was going to be returning to the OpTic Texas lineup, replacing PRED after 2 matches of the 2025 season. We've got a lot more explanation since that announcement, and we're going to try and break down as much of that as possible. We've also got this week's CDL matches, which there were some absolute bangers, including the Royal Ravens absolutely destroying FaZe as TJ Halley finally beats FaZe for the first time in like over 500 days. I think it's something crazy like that. We're also going to be doing. There is not going to be any predictions for next week's matches though this episode, as that will all there is no games next week. There's obviously the break now for a month, and then it'll be episode 26 is when we'll do our predictions for the minor tournament that's coming out. Also, as we know, we've done a few CS:GO at CS2 parts of the roundup, but it is mainly Call of Duty. However, the second major of the year in Shanghai has just finished, and we're going to be doing, for the first ever time in the roundup, a CS based episode with a sprinkle of Call of Duty next week as we talk about the major and we round that up. And it was a great event, by the way, a really good final where emotions were very high. If you do enjoy this episode though, please do drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Comment what you think about the whole PRED situation. Be respectful, of course. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. As well, we will remember our MVP this week, and we're also going to do our team of the split so far. I know we've only had 4 online qualifiers, but I think there's 4 players that stand out more than the rest, and it will not have anyone from the favourites for the entire tournament, the entire season. So we're going to start off with the major news that came out on Wednesday night, yeah. Which was that OpTic Texas are evaluating a change in the starting roster with Huke coming in for PRED. Now, this was absolutely crazy when I heard it. You know, there was talks that there was going to be a massive change. There was rumours going around in the last couple of hours before it was announced that there was going to be a massive change and Huke was going to be joining a roster nobody expected him to be joining. So obviously a lot of people were saying, could it be the Vegas Falcons because Huke was actually born in Saudi Arabia? No. Then people were saying, could he be replacing Kismet on the Gentlemates roster? No. In fact, he's replacing PRED on the OpTic roster, and it's funny because obviously after MW2, PRED replaced Huke for MW3, which is when OpTic won the 2024 CDL World Championship. And a lot of people were saying, like, a lot of people were just absolutely gobsmacked. If I go through the comments, hopefully there isn't too many bad ones. I was obviously shocked. People are saying, like, is he hurt? Because obviously if people who've watched the Call of Duty League for a few years will remember, obviously Illy had his thumb problems, which is why he was dropped off OpTic a couple of years ago. But the main thing that we saw from the article was that Fred has personal issues, and that is what is causing him to leave the OpTic roster. So then the conspiracies came up. The original theory was, oh, has he just got an issue with his visa potentially? But then surely if he had an issue with his visa, he wouldn't have played the start of the season. But obviously that's not always the case. That wasn't the case. So then people were saying, oh, it's gambling. And there was screenshots emerging that apparently PRED had spent his entire champs winnings on gambling and was asking people for money in DMs to fund his gambling addiction. Now, when PRED did stream, which we'll talk about shortly, PRED did do a stream on Sunday night or Monday night? Sunday night. He did a stream after the games had finished and he was explaining everything. from his side obviously there might be stuff he's left out. We don't know. We're not forensic analysis. We can't read people's minds. We don't have that sort of technology. Um, but after Pred being really bad at Major 4, people started to say, was he betting on his own games? And people then were accusing him of betting on Boston Breach to beat OpTic last week and stuff like that. And obviously, a lot of these things can be very, very serious allegations. And obviously, as the Call of Duty League is a professional league, they would have to investigate that, because if there was any sort of match fixing, they would be handed a huge ban. There was someone that I just believe recently just got banned from CSGO, from Counter-Strike, sorry. I keep calling it CSGO when it's not CSGO anymore. And I think they got banned for between 3 to 5 years for match fixing, ultimately. Um, So yeah, it's obviously some serious allegations. So then Pred did tweet this. He's obviously took OpTic out his tag. Now he's not even on the bench. He's a free agent. OpTic have unfollowed him, and a lot of people were saying like, "What's he actually done?" So he says, "I appreciate all the support and love everyone is showing me. Words can't explain how much all this means to me. As you guys are now aware of the situation I'm currently dealing with, which we'll talk about very, very shortly. Just need to change them because they're the wrong way around. I'll be stepping away and handling my personal issues to fix my mental health, which is always health is the most important thing in the world, ultimately. Go cheer the boys on, and I'll be rooting for them. A minor setback for a major comeback." So from that, you would think, oh, is Huke only going to be in temporarily, or is that it? Is Pred done with OpTic for good? Now, obviously, is Pred, they almost spent quite a lot of money to get him from Seattle Surge in MW2. They finally got him as a free agent in MW3, and after one full season and 2 matches, it doesn't feel it. Honestly, I don't know. We don't know what can happen in the future, but I just can't see this being the end of Pred OpTic in the future. I think he'll be back. I really do. Um. So then CDL Intel obviously did put a couple of tweets out about like the fact that he's now confirmed that he's a free agent, which means that obviously teams can decide to sign him when he's ready to return. Could we see him on a top? I could only see Pred personally being on a top team though, and even though FaZe, which we'll talk about shortly, aren't in their best moment right now, I can't see him being on FaZe. Or, I mean, maybe Thieves. We don't know ultimately, but we all just hope that Pred can make a recovery. So then, this is basically all the important stuff that Pred has said. So he's addressed the gambling rumours multiple times, but only very briefly, and he said, if you want to gamble, do it responsibly. So ultimately, we don't know if that's him warning other people to not do what he did, or if he just hasn't, or if he hasn't gambled like people are making out and these screenshots are fake, and he's just saying you can gamble but at your own risk. He has also said he didn't bet on his own matches or any CDL matches. I don't know if I'm assuming that players aren't allowed to bet on CDL matches because it's just like in the Premier League. Obviously, Premier League footballers aren't allowed to bet on Premier League or football in general. You're not allowed to bet on football matches if you're a footballer. He's struggling mentally, which affected competing, practice, relationship with friends and family. Obviously, hopefully he can get that sorted. Issues stem from personal problems he didn't want to share. And now that's completely understandable. He shouldn't have to tell every detail to the internet. It's just social media wants that, but you should never do that. It's private information. So he's done the right thing there. He's gone home to Australia to work on his mental health, which is obviously a good thing. So he's better with the surroundings. He's allowed to play Call of Duty still, so there's no investigation going into him. He hasn't been suspended by the league. He's a free agent. He hopes to come back sometime after Major 1, depending on the situation. Like his mental health and stuff like that. Now this bit I needed to mention as well. So, obviously people started to say, why did OpTic not give him any help? Because obviously OpTic Maniac was in a similar situation with like mental health issues, and they kept him in OpTic. CDL Intel then said that Pred said they tried to help, but he didn't want it. He's cool with everyone on OpTic. So OpTic did try to help him, and they would have just put him on the bench, but he wants to sort this out himself, and that's understandable. It's not like OpTic did anything wrong. But the announcement of Huke being on the OpTic roster was very silent almost. They did like game day coming up, like see you on Friday, and it had the 4 players and it had Huke. No announcement like a normal announcement like welcome to the team, stuff like that. No like leaving message for PRED. Because they probably just want to do stuff like that privately. But Huke is now back on OpTic. Obviously, he was part of their team in the Modern Warfare 2 season, and he did pretty well until it came to the Major 4 LAN, Major 5 LAN, and Champs. But he was very, very good on OpTic in MW2. At one point, he was like a top 3 SMG in the game, and people forget that. He obviously tweeted Greenwall, got a lot of likes because obviously he's back on OpTic, and yeah, it's really good to see that, to be honest. And hopefully, because he was arguably the best player that was currently in Challengers, so hopefully now he can show why he should be in the CDL. So, what was the week? Was it these games? Yes, it was, because OpTic played Vancouver. So we started with the Battle of LA. We had Thieves versus Gentlemates, and they finished 3-1 to Thieves. But honestly, this was a really good series, and the hard points were so close. I mean, on another day, Gorillas win this 3-1. If we actually look at the stats here, Gorillas, Kismet and Linz played well. The ARs were really poor. Scrap and Hydra played well. But yeah, this was such a close series, and we're gonna show you the ending here of this map 4. But this was the best series of the weekend, and to start the weekend off with a series like this is always great to watch.
The game, and it's Hydra that might just seal it. Everybody dead, wiped off the map. That might just be game. That is it. Hydra calls it. Contest. Envoy. Priesta. It's not over yet. Holding it down. Linz is in. It's not over yet. Linz is in. Holding the point. The contest. One more kill. Kismet down. My God, what a hot point. Dios mío. The headphones are already...
That's absolutely outrageous. The games have been really good this season. I don't know if the maps are just really good for the competitive scene, but because the players don't really like the maps. But wow, like there's been some absolute bangers. But I don't think that ending to a heart. There will be no other map this season that'll have an ending like that. In my opinion, that was absolutely crazy. But GG to the Thieves for obviously taking that 3-1 win as they win another game. Then we had Cloud9 versus Minnesota Rock. Obviously, Minnesota Rock went 2-0 in first week. Cloud9 went 0-2, and this time it was won 3-1 by Cloud9. The SMGs, Mac and Kremp, very good here, and Estrel and Nero were good. It was a battle of the SMGs, and all 4 SMG players were good, but it was a win for Cloud9. I'm just going to show you the end of map 1 where, like it said there, Mac did go big in this first map. If I just actually show you his stats here, 37 and 27, and like the SMG's got 70 kills combined here for Cloud9.
One more body into the hard point, taking that time forward, looking for the lead change, but the contest will come through for now. Estriel looking to be the playmaker currently for Rocker. You're starting to feel the pressure with him in the point, but you have time to work with. One tucked away in the corner is going to catch him. That was attached. Sib Kremp through for kills as well. Sib now sub in hand, looking to lock it down. 13 needed for the victory. He's ready for the next one. Not quite the next one as Estriel finds an entry. Mac, though, brings it back with a double. And they just need these final 5 seconds. Still 20 or so points on the hard point. They can shut it down here. They have picked it up massively here at P3 through the last 2 rotations, and that will lead to a hard point victory.
Yeah, very good there from Cloud9. And, I had Cloud9 as the 4th best team before the season started. As of right now, I'd probably say it's Toronto Ultra, but I still think that Cloud9 will start to pick up. But the ARs, like Sib, has definitely been one of the underperformers of the season so far. But there is a long way to go. Then we had a really good series here, really exciting one between Heretics and Breach, and Heretics almost got the reverse sweep, but they weren't able to. If we look at the stats, Awakening was the standout player in terms of KD, but also a big shout out to Purge, because I think Purge had a really good series here, getting the most damage in the lobby. That's something that he would never have done on Vegas Legion last year. Rencor has been pretty good. You know, obviously my Rookie of the Year prediction was someone that isn't actually in the league yet, in case Miami do make a change. Yeah, I kind of regret making that decision based off the first. I think there's already 2 standout players for Rookie of the Year. I mean, out the 5, Rencor and Kicks or Khalid. I still haven't decided which one I'm going to call him yet, but yeah, good series. Not really, like, the maps weren't exactly like close, like really close, but they were relatively close, the hard points. I'm going to say this as well. I think Red Card might be my favourite map out of the competitive pool to watch. I think it's really good. Even though a lot of pros don't like Red Card, I think it's pretty good. And then we had, obviously, Huke's debut here on OpTic against Vancouver Surge. Right, his second debut on OpTic, Texas. No highlights. It must have been a boring one. Nah, I watched it. It was good. 3-1 to Vancouver. No, it wasn't. It was 3-1 to OpTic. And these were the stats. I mean, Shotzi and Dashi were absolutely amazing. I think Dashi was actually better here, just because if you look at the damage, Hicksy had a really poor series, and I know people were hitting on him saying, oh, he's not good enough against the top teams. I still think Hicksy's a great player. You know, I wanted him in the league. And, you know, he needs to do a bit better there. But, yeah, it was just a sloppy map 1 from OpTic. You know, Kenny didn't really have a series here, a good map. Whereas most of Vancouver were playing pretty well. But after that, it was a very dominant series from OpTic. And yeah, 3-1 win. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that, of course. And they'll have to just see how they do next in the minor tournament, sorry. Then we had, that was it for the first day, the Friday. Then we started with Toronto versus Falcons. And we knew that this was going to be a pretty simple game, but not as simple as we thought, because the Vegas Falcons almost took the S&D. They weren't able to. If we look at the stats here, Kleenex and Joe Deceives playing pretty well. Beans did pretty well. On the other side, Roxas did okay. But Kicks was very good. And we'll talk about his other series as well, but he has been arguably the most impressive player on that Vegas Falcons team. We're just going to show you the round 11 now between Toronto Ultra and Vegas Falcons.
A chance here. Well, now it gets harder. Simtex in, backs him up, trying to win the fight. Oh, it's so awkward there with the railing. Insight gets one at the same time. It's down to Exit and Roxas, as they are in trouble now. They have to retake this 2-on-4. They've been so good at retakes, but they've always had numbers. Not the case here at all. This seems impossible. You just have to get a pick, even. They're not going to give you one. Yeah, you have to get a pick, and there's no chance to do it.
That was impossible there for Falcons, to be honest. 4v2 with the bomb planted in protocol in that position, no chance. Yeah, they've got a lot of work to do, to be honest. I think their hard point is not good enough. Look, in my honest opinion about the Vegas Falcons, I think they're going to go 0-7 in online qualifiers. If it even is 7 matches now, or is it 6? I actually can't remember. I think it might be 6, because there's the minor tournament as well. I don't think they're going to win a single game in Stage 1, in Major 1. No LAN win, no online wins at all. After that, maybe, because I think there's definitely improvements. I don't think they're as bad as I thought they would be. I thought they're not as bad as I thought they would be absolutely awful. Like, they're not that bad. Then we had an absolute banger, and the most watched series of the season, by the way. This match between OpTic and Gentlemates had over 203,000 people watching it, because obviously you've got the OpTic community with Scump and that, and obviously Gataga, who is the owner of Gentlemates. The French community has brought a huge fan base to the Call of Duty League, and it's really good. And hopefully next year there will be a major in France, because it will be absolutely amazing. Or they should hope to host champs in France, honestly. But this was the series, and the Gentlemates almost did a reverse sweep, but they weren't able to. If we look at the stats, Dashi, who now has a Lamborghini behind his picture for some reason, was amazing. Kismet played really well, and I thought Priester was definitely better than he has been in previous seasons. But the first map was really bad from Huke. And this was what OpTic fans were worried about. Will the inconsistency start to show? He did not have a good map here. Or a good search, whereas Dashi played quite well. Pretty close control. If I show you the control win after I've showed you the stats, and then again another pretty poor map from the OpTic team. But then the Huke especially played really well in the search, including the clutch, which I want to show you. And yeah, so I'll show you the control, and I'll show you Huke's clutch as well in the search and destroy.
See flying. The nuke has turned his KD around massively. He's putting up the production in the last 2 rounds. And look at this beautiful teamwork, man. As soon as he knows that player in mid's done, he's like, all right, eyes forward. I'm going to pick up my next position. And Huke picking up more than a position, finding a couple more kills. Over the way we go. Damn, Kismet with another ridiculous win. That makes the A zone very dangerous for OpTic.
It's a tough 1v1 to lose because you don't have the pressure on A either. You were just trying to stop the clock and get players in position, but effectively back to square one, and time is ticking. 22 seconds on the game clock, and everybody's spawning over towards gold. Not fun to attack either site, and if you have to lean B, that's a nightmare. But no, A is going to be the call. They're surrounding it.
Oh, Kenny unfortunately loses that fight. Final 10 seconds. Oh, we're in A zone for a second. No, it's done. Huke's got to go huge. Can't find a kill. Dashi, what can you do? Alone, he touched the zone. The answer is no. Kenny able to do it? Yes, he is. Priester's 1v1. See flying.
Yeah, so
The nuke has
a pretty nice play there from Cloud9. No, sorry, from Gentlemate. I'll show you the Huke clutch as well here.
He gave Huke an opportunity. He has an aims, though. It's tough to get these down low.
I get the kill on the Priester so fast. Oh my goodness. Prescient play. Oh! They walk right into him.
I honestly think that they should do better here. So you lose that 1v1. Who was it? Sorry, Priester loses that 1v1. Surely Lynn should have expected that Huke could have done that. I think that was a pretty simple thing that Huke did. I'm really surprised that Lynn didn't read it.
Oh my goodness.
And he was quite slow as well. He was just he was quite slow to react. So good play from Huke. Not his best series compared to, because he played quite well against Surge. Not his best series there, but he made it 5-3 instead of 4-4, and that could have had that could have been huge if he hadn't done that. Now, arguably the series I wanted to talk about the most has to be this one. Carolina Royal Ravens 3-0 FaZe with ease. They 100-point FaZe in hardpoint. What the fuck is happening? TJ Halley and Gwyn were absolutely outrageous. Slasher was amazing. Yeah, I never thought I'd see a Beezy drop a 0.6. I mean, yeah, this is actually crazy. It is absolutely mental what we witnessed. I was gobsmacked. I thought, FaZe have just had a slow start. The hard point was bad. They might win the search. Nope. See, I predicted Royal Ravens to be the dark horse of the season. Whereas on the coaching poll, they weren't very, rated highly. But they've been absolutely amazing in this tournament so far, which is obviously good to see. But yeah, I did not have a 3-0 on my bingo card. Let me say that. Then we had Boston Breach versus Vancouver Surge as well to close out the Saturday. Just give me a second. It's just got really dark all of a sudden. Sorry about that. Right, so we had Boston Breach versus Vancouver Surge. And yeah, this was a 3-2 win for the Boston Breach. a very good series out of Snoopy. He was definitely proving a lot of people wrong, including myself. But I thought everyone played well on this Breach team, especially Purge. People need to... That literally one kill off being green. Do you know what I mean? On the other side, not the best of series, but I don't think anyone was really that bad in this series from any team. I think it was a pretty good series, but Boston Breach have surprised me as well, because I thought Breach would be quite poor this year, but they actually look really good. A huge 3-2 win for them there. Then we had Sunday's matches, which we started with Toronto Ultra versus Miami Heretics. And this was a really good series. We almost got another chance of a reverse sweep from the Heretics, but they failed again in this series. Everyone played pretty well on the Boston side, the Toronto side. No one was really terrible on either team again, but it was won by the Ultra, who now are 4-0, and they've obviously lost Envoy and Scrap's someone you don't want to lose, but they're doing really well this season, and I think they are the 4th best team. Then we had FaZe versus Falcons, and everyone was like, oh, FaZe can finally win a series. And the hard points they dominated. Like, let's not lie, they dominated the hard points. And the search was pretty comfortable, but we look at the stats before I show them. The Falcons won the control, and again, Kix is the best player on Falcons. He's rookie of the year so far, and he plays for a team that hasn't won a map. A series, sorry. I'm really impressed by this guy, honestly. Really, really impressed. And yeah, I think everyone now, a lot of people now, their second teams are Falcons. Everyone's rooting for the Falcons now when they were a bit like, oh, why are they in the league? But they did give FaZe a tough series, except in their hard points. But we're gonna watch the end of this. We're gonna watch the end of this vault control. I will say this: that King of Body, he is not good enough to be in the CDL. They need to replace him first. The other 3 players are good enough to be here. I genuinely believe that, especially Kix and Xnid, and I think Roxas is alright as well, but I don't think King of Body is good enough, and if they genuinely want to progress, they've got to, surely someone in the Vegas Falcons Academy team is good enough to be in the league instead.
They cannot get out. 25 seconds, not a single segment to their name. You need to get on the objective.
A little shimmy, a little shake here from Abizi, King of Booty. Oh, he needs the help, and he actually gets the Semtex to connect. FaZe, a little bit more freedom off the spawn towards pool. Still need to break through this setup as Xnid gets his 36th elimination. Put a sub in this kid's hand forever. Wow, Roxas and Kix shut down stuff from the middle, and now it's just down to the last handful of moments. And I imagine the smiles for FaZe are going to be completely wiped from their faces as Vegas get a control win versus Atlanta FaZe to extend the series.
And you can see how happy Xnid is. I mean, he should be, played really well on that map, 36 kills. Yeah, unfortunately, they need to work on the hard points. There's a video as well of Clayster obviously absolutely buzzing with that result as well, of the control map. Then we had this series. Now, this series was hard to predict. Ravens, Cloud9. I actually did go Cloud9, but it was the Royal Ravens with a reverse sweep. I thought, I can't believe it, to be honest, but it's inevitable that the Ravens win. A really good map 1. A great map 2, and then after that it was dominant from Ravens. They managed to find their way through. Gwyn, I will just say this now, the MVP of the week is so difficult between Gwyn and Dashi. But I think because the Ravens destroyed FaZe the way they did, I think Gwyn is my MVP of the week. I think it has to be. He's actually currently first, I think, in the MVP ladder as well. He's currently got a 99 rated breaking point card as well. Absolutely mental how good Gwyn is. And Slasher as well. They've just been so good. Like, it just come out of absolutely nowhere, pretty much. I mean, Gwyn was Rookie of the Year last year, and I said he definitely deserved it. And some people were saying it should have been a Boozer or Estriel. No, Gwyn was the best rookie. And he's showing why he was the best rookie last year by playing absolutely phenomenal COD. Then we had the final match. Now, this is the only match I missed for the weekend. I had work in the morning, so it was really late in the UK. But it was won by the Thieves, but it was a very close one. They obviously reverse swept. The reverse swept on the protocol control. And the rewind hard point was very Rocker the Rocker were really high up. I think they were nearly 100 points up at one point, but they did bottle it, and it was a Thieves 3-1. Good plays from Scrap and Ghostly, the ARs. Not as much from the SMGs, whereas I thought Geo played quite well here, statistically, and Nero. I mean, Paul X, actually, with that damage, I didn't even realise his damage was so high. Overall, a very good week of Call of Duty, with obviously the biggest shock being the Royal Ravens. So my team of the split so far is obviously going to be Gwyn, Dashy, Slasher, and Shotzzy. So 2 from the Ravens, 2 from OpTic. Is that controversial because OpTic are 3-1? Maybe. You know, obviously not having any of the Toronto Ultra players could be potentially a bit unfair, or the Thieves players, but that's who I'm going to go for. I think Slasher has surprised me. Gwyn has been outrageous. I think Dashy and Shotzzy have comfortably been OpTic's best 2 players as well. So now we have our minor tournament coming back after the Christmas and New Year break. So it's a single elimination. The top 4 in the standings get a bye to the next round. OpTic lose the bye to Boston Breach because of Boston Breach beating OpTic in the head-to-head. If Cloud9 had beaten the Royal Ravens, OpTic would have got in instead. Or if Rocker had beaten Thieves. So you've got Surge Cloud9. My predictions are going to be a week before it happened. OpTic Falcons, Heretics FaZe, Rocker Gentlemates, and then the Ravens, Breach, Thieves, and Ultra. So we'll do our predictions for that when it comes to it. But yeah, a really interesting week of Call of Duty, and obviously next week's episode is going to be a Counter-Strike one where we talk about the major in Shanghai. Thank you very much for everyone that has watched this video. I do really appreciate it. Like if you've enjoyed, and subscribe if you are new. Let me know what you think as well about the whole PRED situation, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.